overclockers, and welcome. Oh, screw this. Where's EPIC when you need him?
Welcome. Hello everyone and welcome. We good? We good. Hello everyone and welcome to EPIC38. My name is Connie. Great to see you all again, of course, for another installment of this wonderful tournament brought to you by Intel, MSI, Overclockers and Noble Chairs. This segment, of course, the pistol round. What we'll be doing? Well, interviewing our three core games of this tournament, StarCraft, Valorant and CSGO, and just, breaking down, how it's going to run throughout the entirety of the weekend. So, without further ado, my first guest is going to be Molten. Molten.
Hello, mate.
How are you? Molten, that's a great name, by the way. So I want to kind of figure out the origin of all that.
I was 12 years old. I was in my room, and I thought it sounded cool. That's it.
Fair enough.
That's the origin.
The further questions answered. But, I mean, listen, you're here today, of course, to play StarCraft. And when it comes to StarCraft, quite a prize pool to both. Looking at £750 on the line here. Now, in terms of it all, how are you feeling as well?
How am I feeling about the game?
How are you feeling about the competition as well?
StarCraft's in a good place right now. We've got a new map pool. We've got a new patch. We just had the World Championships. There's every reason to be excited.
World Championships as well. In terms of the World Championships, what kind of prizes up for grabs there?
I think the winner, Oliveira, won $150,000. Not bad.
Where do I sign up?
Get good.
Not bad. But either way, StarCraft again, of course, playing out for the entirety, and you're looking to play for 750. Not quite the 150,000 that you're looking for at Wells, but good enough nonetheless, and very much a high win in my books. Now, in terms of StarCraft, let's look at the groupings. How is the format of this panning out?
So there's going to be a group stage followed by a double elimination bracket. The top 4 from each group will go into Code S, which is the highest tournament. That's where the money is. That's where the best players will be. And then for those who don't make the top 4, they'll go into Code A, so they still have something to play for as well. I think the first prize for Code A is a gaming chair. Am I correct in that?
Mm-hmm, indeed. The gaming chair you're talking about, again, it's pretty impressive. We're talking about a Thundercat gaming chair. Now, the MVP prize for StarCraft, again, very different for all 3 tournaments going on here. But at this point, knowing my life stage, I love a gaming chair. And Thundercat, of course, supplying his day for Epic. Not a bad shout at all. Now, question is, do you think you'll win that?
No, I'll be in Code S. Maybe.
Fair enough. Now, in terms of competition as well, let's look at the favourites to win this whole damn thing. Do you consider yourself, one of the best ones here?
No, absolutely not. I mean,
Okay,
Risky is the 11-time Epic LAN champion, so he's got to be the first name you got to mention. But this LAN could be all different because we have a foreigner coming to join us for Jimmy from K10. He's travelled over from Germany, and he's currently looking really good on the ladder, about 6.3K. So he might even be the favorite in some people's mind for this tournament.
So an underdog coming out of nowhere trying to knock down an 11-time champion. Fair enough. I kind of have to elaborate a little bit in terms of it all. Have you seen him play at all? Do you kind of know what to expect? Or is it just a case of like, oh, this guy's apparently really good. We're going to see how it goes.
He's played a lot online. He's very highly ranked. He's played at some offline tournaments as well. I have seen him play in person. He's very fast. He's got a big brain. He plays Protoss, so he's doing something right. But yeah, no, I fully expect him to win, to be honest with you.
Okay, fair enough. So there's no one contending those two guys, then you were just sort of fighting for third place? Because I really feel like there's some instances, where, you do fancy yourself a little bit.
Maybe a little. Yeah, you got to bring up Raza. Raza has won Epic Land before. He's made it to the final countless times against Risky. I don't even know how many times by now. But he's a very solid player as well, got a lot of experience behind him, very used to this Epic Land setting, and he definitely has a good chance of winning.
In terms of as well the metrics and kind of the familiarity, I feel like StarCraft is a community that's very well known, very kind of tight-knit, and I feel like you kind of know a lot of players that are genuinely here. Yeah. But overall, I kind of want to elaborate a bit more on the broader spectrum and look at StarCraft and how it is right now. You mentioned as well a new patch coming in, new maps coming in. Just please explain a little bit more for me.
As well as that, a brand new announcement just a few hours ago, the ESL Pro Tour got announced for 2023. So that's a whole nother year. StarCraft tournaments around the world. Brilliant news, obviously, for the game. There was some question marks over what was going to happen. Hopefully Blizzard don't kill us. And fortunately, they didn't. So we're still alive. We're still kicking. It's not a dead game. But yeah, a new patch, new maps as well. That's going to change up the game a lot. The last map pool was very stale. The last patch was even staler. Maybe 2 years on the same patch was just painful to watch and play.
My esports Call of Duty, it's very different to StarCraft. We have a new title every single year. StarCraft's been around for generations. I call it the godfather of esports in a way. The time it's been around, simply, you just can't make it up. It's very impressive. But, I kind of understand like the way the StarCraft season works of it, and how the players work. But mentally, where do you think, the edge is in StarCraft, why it is, one of the best esports?
So hard to say. There's so many aspects to the game. There's your raw speed, but then also your strategy and your awareness of what your opponent's doing while focusing on what you're doing back home. There's a lot of aspects, a lot of characteristics that make up a good StarCraft player, and it really is a mix of all of those. And actually, it's interesting you say that because one of the UK boys made little player cards for each player, which rates them on offense, defense, multitasking, speed, and a couple other categories as well. So we don't have the cards printed out, but there are digital versions of them, so you can get a nice feeling for what each player is about from those. It's quite nice.
Now, very important as well, just to interrupt you there, sorry, we've raised 100 now on Game Blast, which means one important thing. I have Shrinky Jaeger on stage. I know.
Sounds
very
like
well done. But at the same time, at my expense, I hate Jaegers.
Oh, that's a shame.
But it's all right. It's a coveted drink. It's still very much an impressive thing. We're looking at 100 raves for games. It's just a good thing all around. We love it in general. But whilst we wait for that as well, I'll end it on, the sort of format. I think double elimination for StarCraft. I mean, if you can kind of explain to me how the games run per se, how exhausted do you think everyone's going to get when it comes to, the way that this is going to run?
Yeah, so for sure, the StarCraft tournament's over 2 days. So while that sounds like a long time, it's a lot of games inside 2 days. You're playing 1v1s, which can often be extremely intense, especially at the high level. And to make it all the way through that double elimination bracket, it's going to take a long time, and it does wear you out. But as I said, Risky, Raza, these guys have so much experience with that. It might not be an issue for them.
Okay. I'm just thinking, StarCraft again. It's going to be mentioned a lot. £750 to play for winner takes all. Well, not winner takes all, but, it's a lot of money for one person. I feel like as long as I've played, the most I've won is £100. But regardless of that, it's still very impressive to think of. I kind of understand the mentality and kind of like, the camaraderie of StarCraft in terms of it all. I think the one key thing to note is that, camaraderie in StarCraft and in general, different esports, is it quite a, in-your-face esport? Is it very shouty? Is it very loud? I'm really curious to know because StarCraft just seems so chill from the outside looking in.
Yeah, from what I've seen at least, the StarCraft community is almost completely different to most other esports communities. We're very, I don't know, civil might be the right word to use, but quite polite in general. And we love talking to each other about the games, how we can improve, even after you may have lost to someone. Yeah, maybe you're a little tilted for a while, but often just the whole environment here, especially at Epic Land, is super nice. It's super inspiring to play, and it just motivates you to play more and really enjoy the game.
Fair enough. Well, in terms of it all, I wish you very good luck
Thank you.
in your run in this tournament. And again, you're looking for two hot winners for this. I really do fancy yourself in a little aspect. There must be some form of confidence there. But regardless, good luck to you. And thank you for coming here and explaining to me all.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Well, in terms of it all, I think it's just, me waiting for a Jaeger bomb and just sort of, breaking down. It just has to be a case of, how things are going to be. But right now, the next, of course, is going to be Valorant. I mean, listen, one of the more premier tournaments here on the stage. And even, we saw, a Beacon qualifier in the mix. This tournament, of course, is a qualifier for the Beacon split coming up next. And lots of teams are vying for a spot, as well as their share, I think, of a £2,750 prize pool, which is pretty impressive. But to talk to me about that, of course, it's going to be Rook.
Thank you very much.
Now, tell me, Rook. Very interesting name. Were you a chess player?
No, honestly, it started off with Fantastic Beasts of Where to Find Them. I was coming off of O.A. Olsen, which is my old gamer name. And I was like, I like Rock, which is the fantasy like bird, creature, griffin-style animal. And my initials are, excluding the middle one, O and O. So I added another 2 O's in there. And rather than saying it sounded like Rook, I just said Rock.
In terms of it all, Rook, you are going to be casting Valorant for the entirety of the weekend. And in terms of it all, I want you to delve a little bit into the format we have going on with this tournament.
Well, the format is pretty simple. We've got groups. We've got 2 groups, only 2, unfortunately, unlike CS. And that's going to be best of 1 games to try and determine who comes out of that on top. And then we're going to take the winners, at least the higher ranking teams from that, and put them into a double elim bracket. Now, some of the losers will still be in there, but they'll be lower in that lower bracket. Now, every single game, and that is every single game in comparison to some of the others, is going to be best of 3, which means we've got so many fantastic games coming your way.
Fair enough. Now, in terms of Valorant and what we saw last time, when I was here last year at 37, it was very different. Different meta, different maps. Now we're seeing Breeze and Bind go out and introducing Lotus and Split again. Now, Lotus as a map in general has caused divided opinions in Valorant for the large scale of it. But I want to hear your thoughts a little bit and how you've seen so far in lock-in when it comes to teams picking up map.
I think, honestly, it's been sick in lock-in. I didn't, unfortunately, cast the last game between Global and Vitality. I was headed to the bar, unfortunately, between those games. But honestly, it's a really interesting map. It can put things very up in the air, but I think it's very unique in that. And I mean, I like these 3-site maps. A big fan of Haven, and I'm excited to see what teams are really going to bring on Lotus, as it is still a relatively young map.
In terms of picks as well, we're now seeing Harbour come more into the comp meta, and even Stacks and DRX, winning the last map of their series on the Harbour on Lotus is pretty much really the best performance I've seen so far in the Agent. But I feel like when it comes to the picks, dual controller is any way really that you can run Harbour. And I kind of just get your thoughts as well a little bit as to how you saw the last meta as well. We hear back in October, and it was primarily Chamber Killjoy. Now we're just seeing Harbour come in and switch things up a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, I'm glad to see Chamber go. He was. I don't think he was necessarily toxic for the meta, but it was definitely very meta-warping in the way he was able to contest a lot of different things. I think bringing Harbour in is really interesting. Still seeing a lot of that Killjoy, though, that you mentioned, especially on maps like Lotus.
He's getting nerfed, I'm pretty sure.
He's getting nerfed, which is going to be interesting to see how that goes, but obviously not going to be so relevant for this tournament. I think that Harbour in particular is really cool. The fact that teams are willing to run double controller for him is so interesting in the way they cut up the map. And I think Lotus, which you talked about before, is so important for that.
When it comes to it as well, let's talk about the duelist as well, because when it comes to Lotus, we're seeing duelists almost eliminate that comp and the real kind of meta play. Of course, you can still run maybe a Jet or a Raze if you want to. Even something that's still Reyna being picked, which is kind of interesting. But I kind of feel like Lotus, in a way, just eliminates the duelist completely.
Yeah, I think Lotus definitely does, but I think in general they can return a little bit more to the meta. I'm a little bit sad to see Phoenix bounce in for a little bit, obviously, with his buff quite a while ago now, and then kind of go back out again. We're returning to the agents who are fantastic at claiming that space. Like you highlighted, the Jet, the Raze, and things like that are absolutely fantastic at claiming that space. And on Lotus and on other maps, they really allow you to take control.
And that is the interesting part about it all. Again, the development's gone so big in the last 4 months. Again, you can just develop into it more. But I'm going to make you watch something very special. We hit 100 on games, so now I have to do a shot of Jaeger on stage. Very off topic, but again, I think Grace is going to bring out a lovely drink, and I think you can have one as well.
Oh, I have one as well.
You do? We get 2 shots on stage, drinking.
I've been entirely roped into this, but...
Courtesy of John Winkle. Oh,
wow.
What a man. My favourite of all time. Anyway, cheers.
Cheers.
Ugh. Now, again, you can also donate as well and see me do more shots on stage if you really want to at tiltify.com/EPIC38. But again, as far as it's all going, let's add on one more question. Now, in terms of the tournament as well, last time we saw Le Petit Perform go through and Vamonos go through for the Beacon qualifier. Now, have you got your eyes on any real teams? I was speaking to Insight earlier. Those guys look very fired up. Brand new team again coming in, who qualified, I think they were 4th or 3rd last time, but I think they're probably one of the favourites in my eyes.
I think, yeah, I mean, we're looking through. I was looking at the general seeding document, and it was pretty consistent that they were first, or at least close to first. You know what? That sounds like a good idea. I'm gonna,
yeah, it does a good
that
idea.
one down. I think they're looking really fantastic, but you've also got teams like Cleat, you've got Cognizant, you've got Control as well, who have looked really fantastic. There's a lot of good teams who I think can contest for it, and I think while the seeding-wise, Insight look to be the top, and I think they absolutely are coming into this the best team and the team to beat. I think they've got something to prove, because I'm looking at them, I'm looking at the squad, and recently, if you're looking at their VLR.GGs, they've not had the greatest string of wins. Now, I think they can absolutely bring it out, they can pick up the win, but they're going to have to prove it to us.
Well, on LAN, that is the opportunity, of course, where you will put your money to your mouth and your word against everyone else. But, Rook, thank you so much for speaking to me again about Valorant, and it's been a real pleasure because, again, these guys are playing for 2.75K, a lot on the line, 500 beacon points, and, again, a qualifier into the circuit heading into, you know, the next Polaris split. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you again.
Bye.
Last split with our players, fundamentally we're better players and just got better skills. So I wouldn't say there's a team to be scared of. Teams that I'd like to play would be like Click, Jokers, because we've got an ex-teammate in there, and maybe Control. They've been together for a long time. They've got a new player called Daki from ITB, what everyone calls an upgrade, but probably isn't. Teams to be a dark horse, I think maybe like Control, if I can give them their respect, and they could be a dark horse. They don't really have the respect from other Beacon teams. I'd say Jokers, they did good before in this tournament. They seem to turn up on LAN. So probably Jokers would be the #1 dark horse team. MVP, probably the best player at the event would probably be Anguist. He's shown that he's the best player in the Beacon split before, and that was with way better teams. So he should be cleaning up this LAN. If my team qualified this split, I think, well, last split was really close. We came 3rd. We lost in the upper finals and losers finals. So that was quite difficult to take. But this split, we've just gone for firepower. Firepower, fundamentals. So I think, you know, seeing the teams like Human Tripwires, Who Cars, they look really poor. So I think we'll do good. I think Epic LAN's like big. It was my first ever LAN event for Valorant. You know, stepping into Valorant, you want to compete, you want to see the people that you're playing with. It brings everyone together. I think it's so big for the UK to have a LAN that everyone can come together, and you know, it's super competitive and it means something to win it. So I think it's massive. Yeah, so this is the first tournament for Beacon. So finals is the goal. Well, to win it is the goal. Set up, get the 500 points and just get going, and just, you know, set out that we're the first seed in the whole of Beacons, not just the UK.
Again, welcome back. You saw a wonderful interview there, and, well, Valorant in itself is going to unfold throughout the weekend, but primarily the next one, of course, is CSGO. I'm most subscribed to for this tournament, a prize pool of 3.75K. We're going to have Lethal come up and explain some core details of this event. If that Lethal is actually there. But in fairness, I think when it comes to CSGO, the format, again, is going to be 4 groups of 8 in best of 1s, and then 16 teams will go into playoffs where it is going to be best of 3. But 8 starting upper and 8 starting lower, so you're not seeing, you know, the teams themselves go straight on into the real thick of it, you know, starting in winners and then playing throughout losers. The guys and losers are really fighting for their lives and trying to get through. But in the end of it all, you're going to try it there and go and win. And last time we saw Smoothie won alongside Bevy on the Neighbours. But, you know, things are different around here. Different teams are coming in. There's a lot more competition in the thick of it. And we are primarily as well looking at, you know, the 3.75K that I mentioned before. And even for the MVP prize, we're looking at as well a Ducky keyboard being given away to one of, you know, the lucky players coming in.
The mindset's very different. I think LAN CS, people are screaming, people are shouting, people are ready to shoot heads, and you know, there's a less fun aspect and more I want to win.
If anything, it becomes a bit more like loosened, I guess, because for me, I have a lot of fun at LAN. I enjoy LAN a bit more, the atmosphere's better, everything like that is better, the gameplay's better. So for me, I actually enjoy it more.
You've got to be scared of Viperio as the teams that you don't want to play against. Coalesce as well, Arctic Raptors, all of these teams are top 200 in the world. You're going to lose. I think the advantages they have is teamwork, right? They've obviously practiced together, they play a lot together, they're ready for this event a lot more than the mixes and the more casual teams. They're going to be scary. Dark Horse? Oh, that's a difficult one. I'd like to say the Bin Men, one of the teams, but realistically, that's not looking great. I'd say one of the Jezzies or Us teams. I'd say that they've got a pretty good team.
Click and E-Masters are probably the two that I would mark as a dark horse.
I think there's going to be some surprises. I think certainly an underperformer, maybe not so much, but maybe there's a chance we don't see a Coalesce and Viperio grand final like everyone expects it to be.
I think if there's anybody that's set up to be an underperformer, it would probably be Arctic Raptors. Because I think Arctic Raptors are Coalesce, because Coalesce haven't really been out of LAN for a while, so maybe they just, you know, they're not used to the conditions, people shouting at them, whatever it is. So that might happen. Arctic Raptors, they had a poor showing last LAN, so if they haven't recovered from that, then they may underperform where they should be.
Oh God, my fantasy. Yeah, this is a tough topic. So I'm going for me and Ali, which is my teammate. I think I've got Kreitz in the mix. I've got Mr. Hoy, and I want to say Artist as well.
So my fantasy team is a bit of a throwback to one of my earlier teams, which is myself, Isaac, Chaos, Regan, and then I've got that in for the budget, and he's meant to be like a real good budget pick, hopefully. But yeah, it's not necessarily a fantasy team that's probably going to win me everything, but it's just something that's kind of a bit of a homage to my past, so yeah.
Dedicated rivals, it's got to be the fellas wearing the same shirt as me. The Bin Men, there's no way I can come anywhere but first between them.
I don't think so. I don't really think I have a dedicated rival. I know that you know, Zulu in my team recently got dropped from his team, and some of his teammates are in other mixes dotted around the event, so he might have a bit of something to prove there. Criv's he wants to destroy everybody, so he's probably going to think that everybody's a rival to him. Yeah, I don't really have a rival, to be honest, but I just enjoy playing against everybody. Like a lot of people at this LAN are my mates, so yeah, I just have a lot of fun.
Again now, CSGO, of course, the main talking point of this, and one of which is going to be joined alongside me on stage, is going to be Lethal, everyone. A round of applause. There we go. Now, please.
Thank you.
Tell me, Lethal, how on earth are you feeling with CSGO? I want to know your backstory, your villain origin arc.
Well, looking at Group D, I think that is the most interesting group of this tournament. 3 very good teams, K10, Viperio, and Vitalize. 3 decent orgs. No mixes really in the top 3. Obviously, we have players like Murky and Impact from the Pot 4 team, Jay-Z's are us Red as well. It's a very competitive group.
Now, in terms of all, well, listen, when it comes to the RMR qualifiers for Paris, Viperio, one of the teams that went through and qualified. Now, in terms of UK CSGO, Into the Breach as well also got through. But how massive is that as well for our scene and culture?
It's very massive, especially considering the state the UK scene was in, I think, personally, in my opinion, around August of this year.
What was it like?
We had Insomnia, we had some very good teams, but just not the real push in the European scene, and just making even the close qualifiers. And now we have 2 teams in the actual RMRs. It's fantastic, really.
And even teams playing us as well. We're looking at, you know, teams like Bay Esports, Fnatic, everyone else just sort of getting mixy, you know, and trying to qualify. Paris is going to be huge as well when it comes to it all. It kind of makes a question in terms of it all as to what the UK can do, because I mean, we have not seen a UK CSGO event in ever, really. I'm thinking about a large-scale major. It's in Sydney. We have seen Paris now coming in. I mean, we're all kind of dying for it, don't you think?
Definitely, yeah. I think it's going to be, in a sense, very interesting to see where they can mix with all these big orgs like Fnatic, you've said. Really, I'd say it's a case of, let's see where they can go. Like, imagine they actually qualify for the major. How historic would that be? They've already done incredibly well getting to the close qualifiers, then getting through to the RMRs. 2 of them, in fact, especially considering the new Into the Breach roster, which is quite new.
We saw Thomas come back in as well to this system. So that's
yeah.
kind of, you know, like, how has it sort of worked around? Because, again, when it comes to the whole of this tournament, again, Viperio present, and they're going to be one of the favourites coming into it. But what really is the format for CSGO this time around?
We have our standard at Epic 4 groups of 8. Top 2 groups go upper bracket.
Very nice.
3rd and 4th go lower bracket. And then going through, playing along. If you lose and you're in the upper bracket, you go to the lower. If you lose in the lower, sorry, you're out. Each game's a BO3, standard, classic players format, no BO1s, the straight BO3s, and just have BO1 groups.
I think the MVP prize as well is something to highlight when it comes to this tournament. They can win a Ducky keyboard if they really shine through the entirety of this tournament, which again, we have to kind of elaborate, like there's lots of competition in CSGO.
Definitely.
You can't really put it down to one particular player to shine through, but if they do, who would you say is the one player that's likely to win that entire thing?
Well, I'm going to go for a bold prediction, but I think Leaf from Coalesce.
Leaf. Why are you saying Leaf?
So I used
I
used to be a player back in the day, arguably not very good one, as people will say. But growing up, Leaf was the talent, and this is his first LAN back since I think Insomnia 65 when he was playing with London Esports. I really want to see what he can do on LAN because he's a player that's always impressed me, and it's his first time back in 3.5 years.
3.5 years out. Do you not think the rust might kick in a little bit?
Potentially, but I think also the pressure could. For some players, pressure is a crippler. For some players, pressure is a builder. Because of how long he's been out, I don't know what it is. But I think personally, I think he's going to shine.
And in terms of the teams as well, talk about here, but any other underdog star courses that we can maybe just throw out there a little bit as well? We talk about Coalesce again, an organization that's been pretty much new to the entirety of esports, but has nothing short of miraculously done so well in that space of time.
In terms of underdogs, frankly, I think everyone is going to place where, I shouldn't say should, but I don't think there's any teams that have really been unfairly seeded. But I also don't think that there's, obviously the event's incredibly competitive, but I do think there are bands of teams. I think our top two teams, Coalesce and EPIC38, if one of them two teams don't win it, and it's a team like Arctic Raptors, Royals, E-Masters, they have to be seen as the underdog, and it would be a great story if they did, in a sense.
Kind of shows the talent level, though, when you're saying E-Masters could be underdogs coming into this. But then again, though, we've grown so much in that short space of time that things really are sort of panning out that way. Now, thank you so much for talking to me again, explaining CSGO.
Welcome.
I will see you very soon. Give me a spell. And thank you very much, Tom, there, ladies and gentlemen. Now, when it comes to it all, we've got 3 days to decide who is the best of all three of these, StarCraft, Valorant, and CSGO. But how are we going to find out? Well, things are just going to unfold. We'll see you very soon, and thank you very much, including the pistol round.
Hello, Overclockers, and welcome. Oh, screw this. Where's EPIC when you need him?